There are always miscellaneous items that won't fit really into the big categories like clothes, tech or toiletries, but you still need to pack them into your bag for your next trip or vacation. That's why I will show you in this video what an extreme minimalist who is pursuing a one-bag life really packs as his miscellaneous items, though that you really need them because they're quite important. And as always, at the end of the video, I will give you my best tip on how you can decide which miscellaneous items are important for you and what you should pack for your next trip, even if you are not pursuing a one-bag life. For all of you who are new to my channel, I'm Sven, just a regular guy whose biggest dream and desire is to live out of just one carry-on sized backpack that fits his whole life. And I'm an extreme minimalist with less than 150 possessions after being a minimalist for over 7 years. So hit the subscribe button and like, but most importantly, leave a comment with your thoughts at the end of the video and follow me along my journey to a true one-bag life and to see how an extreme minimalist lifestyle could look like. But I would say, let's get started. I think every one of you who is watching this video right now knows the situation quite good. You are almost finished packing up all your things that you need for your next trip into your bag, but there are still some items that, as I mentioned, don't really fit any of these major categories like clothes, tech or toiletries, but you still need to carry them to have an easier or a much more simpler trip, but you don't know or you're not sure what to decide, what to bring, what is really necessary, because I think especially in the category of miscellaneous items, there are items for every single possible situation and occasion that you could pack. For me, it was definitely the same. I was just packing my things up. I was already finished with all the major categories, but I still thought about the things that I could bring that I maybe need or maybe don't need. So I packed a lot of things for every possible situation. But when I'm becoming a minimalist or I adopted a minimalist lifestyle and then becoming an extreme minimalist and a one-bag life person, I realized that maybe the miscellaneous category is maybe the category that don't need a lot of items, and to be honest, maybe it would need the least possible amount of items, because when you pack the rest of your things as you would do when you really go on holiday or vacation, I think most of the situations are already covered. So I would say let's start with the items that I carry as an extreme minimalist pursuing a one-bag life. And the first item is maybe the item that you have seen the most here in this video, because I showed it a lot of times, and that is an insulated water bottle. And this is maybe an item that not everybody would necessarily need, but for me personally is an absolute must-have item, because you have either way here in Southeast Asia a drink that is always cold, or when you go to colder destinations you will have always a drink that is hot. So for me, even if you just use it as a refillable water bottle, so here in Southeast Asia you can just refill like everywhere your water very cheap or for free, so it's much easier to carry that bottle even if it weighs a little bit more than always buying like plastic bottles or anything else in that regard. Next up is maybe one of the most important things, especially when you are backpacking, and that are earplugs. I attach my earplugs here directly to my buff, so I showed you my buff earlier in a different video where I talked about my clothes that I bring, and that goes very handy with my earplugs. So I can show you what I exactly use, so I hope you can see them. These are my earplugs, especially when you are in guest houses or like not the best hotels. It could get some loud noises there, so it's very handy just to have some on your hand. And as I said, I pair them with my eye mask, or as I said, with my buff, so I have always like a set to when I will need it on a bus ride or anything else. I just can grab it and have everything I need. The next very important thing in my opinion is a microfiber towel. So I have here a microfiber towel that is the size of a beach towel, and as you can see from the box or from the case of it, it is very packable. And as I said, it's a size that fits like everybody on it, so it's a beach towel size, I would say, and it's very handy because it's, as I said, very packable in your bag, and it dries relatively quickly. I would say it's not the fastest, but I think it's okay, and you can use it for almost everything. Next up, let's talk about a very small item, so very quickly, and that's a pen actually. So I would always bring a pen because, especially when you're backpacking or you're going to multiple countries, maybe you need to fill out some forms at the border, or you just have to fill some things or some forms here at some hotels. So it's always handy to have a pen to write something down, to fill something. So it's very easy and a very small item, so I just bought a very small pen, to have it with you all the time just in case you need one and the hotel or everything else don't provide one. The next item, or the next items I should say, are probably almost the same size but almost as important as the pen, and that are backlogs. And I would say these are very self-explanatory because I need to secure my bag even when I'm staying here at an accommodation. I always try to secure my bag, and especially when I go to the airport or anything else. So having a backlog, or as much backlogs as you would say need because of the leashes or of the zippers that you have on your bag, you should always carry them for an extra security on your bag. Last but not least, there are 2 packing cubes inside of my bag. So the big one here is for my clothes and the small one carries almost everything else. So all of my tech, all of my toiletries and almost all of my miscellaneous items. So these are just 2 packing cubes that I use to organize my bag, because when you can see the bag, or when you saw the video about the bag, it's just like a giant hole where you can self-organize almost everything. So I use packing cubes to organize everything, and I think it's the perfect addition to a bag that has no real internal, I would say, organization. And now maybe the last really important thing, and that is once my folder with all my important documents, but I won't show you all the important documents, but the maybe most important thing inside of that folder is actually my AirTag. So I would definitely say everybody who's traveling nowadays needs some kind of tracker for their bag, for their luggage. Doesn't matter if it's carry-on or not. So I'll always carry one of my AirTags inside of the pouch with the most valuable things that I have. That's like my passport and everything else. So I can just track down my bag and the most important things I would need if I lose anything else. But now let's really talk about the last miscellaneous items that I carry. And these are just, I would say, 2 items for a hobby or for something you want to do or learn while you're traveling. And for me personally, that is my scuba diving mask and my snorkel. So that could be any item to use, so it depends on what you're doing and what you like, what your hobbies are and what you want to carry. But I try to go as often as I can scuba diving or snorkeling, and that's why I just bought me a mask for myself and a snorkel. As you can see, there are not a lot of miscellaneous items in this category for me personally, but some of them maybe are very necessary to you or your situation and your bag. But for me personally, it's the right amount of things, and I use most of them quite often, or maybe daily, as my water bottle, for example. So most of them are definitely regularly in use. So for me, it's, as I said, the perfect amount of things, and everything has a dedicated purpose to it, which is, I think, the most important thing. And I don't carry as much other stuff that I don't need or as a just-in-case item. But now that you know how my miscellaneous items are looking like as an extreme minimalist who's pursuing a one-bag life, here is my best tip for you how you can decide what miscellaneous items to bring for your next trip or inside your bag, even if you are not pursuing a one-bag life. The first and maybe most important thing is to find out what is really miscellaneous to you. Because I think for me personally, the items that I call miscellaneous, you maybe won't call miscellaneous. So I don't know if a water bottle is a miscellaneous item or if earplugs is really a miscellaneous item. So you should definitely find the items that don't belong to any of the major categories like clothes, tech or toiletries, because when you find the items that are really miscellaneous to you personally, it's much easier to find the items you don't need for your next trip. After you really found out what your miscellaneous items are to you personally, the next step is to reduce these items to a minimum. Do you really need 3 or more backlogs even though your bag has only 2 zippers? Or maybe you are not the person for packing cubes, so do you really need packing cubes in your bag? So as I said, try to reduce your miscellaneous items that you really need to a minimum so that you won't carry as much on your bag. So you can save weight and money by just buying the stuff you need for maybe 2 zippers, just buy 2 backlogs. It makes your life much easier, and most of the miscellaneous items you can easily buy wherever you go. And now the last tip is to just keep it simple. Do you really need like these cushy pillows for your back when you're, for your neck, sorry, when you're flying because they're eating up so much space? Or can you just like throw a, I don't know, hoodie around your neck and then try to sleep on that? So maybe it's way easier to find like a compensation for that item instead of bringing big bulky items. So try to keep it as simple as possible, because as I said, most of the items that you really will need on your trip or in your bag, you can buy almost everywhere. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe and like, but most importantly, share a comment down below with your opinion what the most important miscellaneous items in your bag are looking right now. The next video will be about the best way you can pack your bag to save as much weight, space, and in the end even money for your next trip. In the meantime, you can watch my last video where I show you my extreme minimalist toiletry bag with only 10 items that fits perfectly into a one-bag life. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!